Since 1999, LEGO has made almost 1,000 different LEGO Star Wars sets, and obviously some of them are extremely popular and super iconic, although others since their release have just kind of been lost to time and forgotten about in 2024. So in this video, I want to go over 6, well technically 9 LEGO Star Wars sets that you guys have probably forgotten about over the years. And if you guys enjoyed this video, I'll probably make a part 2 in the future. Anyways though, the first one I have is probably the most popular set on this list, but like it's not very popular, it's just popular relative to the other ones. Anyways, it's 7930 Bounty Hunter Assault Gunship, released all the way back in 2011, and the reason I wanted to include this is because yes, it is a Clone Wars set, and pretty much every Clone Wars set is popular within the community. However, I think this is one of the ones that just gets overlooked a bit more, or has just been forgotten about. People have moved on from it, and the reason is because, I mean, look at the ship. People that didn't grow up watching the Clone Wars are not going to recognize this at all. That doesn't mean it's not cool though. If you've been watching my channel, you probably know that I really like the bizarre and wonky and unique LEGO Star Wars ships, and this is a great example of that. I love the green and yellow. I mean, name one other LEGO Star Wars set that's green and yellow, there probably aren't any. And then on top of that, the minifigure lineup is insane. It is the Bounty Hunter Assault Gunship after all, so you get 3 bounty hunters, that being Suji, I hope I said her name right, Aurra Sing, and then the best one, Embo, which is arguably the coolest bounty hunter in all of the Clone Wars. And this set is the only time LEGO has made any of those 3 characters, but sadly, I mean, it's just an obscure one-off set from the Clone Wars, and in 2024, I don't think people are really thinking about this anymore. Next up, I have one of the coolest Star Wars Legends sets LEGO ever made, that being 75204 Sandspeeder from 2018. To this day, it's honestly still so strange to me that LEGO made this set, because there's really no real source material in Star Wars that this even comes from. If you look up the Sandspeeder on Wikipedia, it says the concept for this vehicle came from an unreleased toy line in 1986. So that means this ship was made up just for that toy line that never even ended up releasing. Then I guess however many years later in 2018, LEGO saw that idea from the toy line and decided to make it their own set. So again, the background of this set and just this vehicle in Star Wars is pretty interesting and kind of strange, but that doesn't mean it's not awesome. I mean, if you can't tell, it's basically just a tan snowspeeder, and I love snowspeeders, and I also like tan colored ships, so I just think it looks really cool. Although unfortunately it was released in 2018, which by most people is considered to be one of the worst years for LEGO Star Wars, just because we got so many sets and so many of them were honestly just forgettable, mainly sequel sets. But since this set was just buried into the mix, it kind of just got forgotten about along with all the others. But to this day, I think this thing is awesome. Anyways though, next up I have a group of sets, that being the sets that came from the Freemaker Adventures in 2016 and 2017. And not only are these sets just forgotten about, there's a lot of people in the community that have just never seen these before and didn't know they existed. And that's because, well, they come from the Freemaker Adventures TV show, which was a LEGO original series, and honestly, I just think overall, most LEGO original series are just forgettable. Don't get me wrong, there have been some decent ones like Yoda Chronicles and then the recent Rebuild the Galaxy, but shows like the Freemaker Adventures, I mean, are just stuck in the past, and so are the 4 sets that came from it. And at the same time, these sets just look weird. I mean, they don't really even look like Star Wars vehicles. The only actual good one, which I will actually defend to this day, is 75145 Eclipse Starfighter. This thing is awesome. It's got a really cool wing functionality, and it just looks super sleek and awesome looking Star Wars-ish starfighters. But the other 3, I mean, like, man, these things are just kind of ugly in my opinion, especially the Star Scavenger. I mean, back in 2016, nobody was buying this thing. I think the only people that were spending money on these sets back in the day were really just getting the Arrowhead and the Tracker 1, which still, I think, don't look that great. So again, the fact that these are from a forgettable show, and the fact that they're just ugly looking ships besides the Eclipse, makes them forgettable. Anyways though, next up I have the only sequel set on this list, that being 75177 First Order Heavy Scout Walker. And this thing is honestly kind of just ridiculous. It's probably the most obscure sequel set LEGO ever made. I mean, it's literally like a crab walker. It has wheels on the bottom, and when you roll it, the legs actually move to make it look like it's walking. And then on top, it's got this massive head and gun that looks like something straight out of Halo. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think this thing looks kind of cool. I mean, I never bought it, and I don't really plan on buying it, and like in most sequel sets, it's so forgotten about that its current value sealed 7 years later is still around its retail price of $50, which is ridiculous. The resale value of sequel sets alone just goes to show how forgotten about they really are. But what's special about this one, and the reason I put it on this list, is because this one was released with the first wave of episode 8 sets in September before the movie came out in December, and this was the only set or vehicle that didn't actually actually end up being in the movie. This also kind of happened with episode 7 with the Snowspeeder, although it was in the background for like one frame. This vehicle was actually not in episode 8 at all, which is kind of unfortunate. It's like Disney just gave concept art to LEGO to make sets off of, and then they kind of just screwed them over by not including one of the concept arts in the actual movie. But still, the fact this is a sequel set and let alone wasn't even seen in the movie it's based on just makes it very, very forgettable for most people. Anyways though, next up I have arguably the coolest one-off unique Clone Wars set, that being 75024 HH87 Starhopper from 2013. This set is based off of that Bounty Hunter Clone Wars arc where Obi-Wan disguises himself as Rocco Hardeen and goes through all those Bounty Hunter trials or whatever. I think it was season 4, maybe season 5, I honestly don't remember, but still, it's one of the best Clone Wars arcs and we actually got a set from it. Now honestly, I do not remember seeing this ship in any of those episodes, but I have to say as a LEGO set, it looks pretty cool. This might sound kind of weird, but to me, it looks like a grasshopper. I mean, I don't know if anyone else sees this too, but to me at least, it looks like some type of bug or grasshopper, and I think that's kind of where the name Starhopper came from. But regardless, it's a strange one-off Clone Wars set from a vehicle that's not very recognizable, so that's why it's mostly forgettable or has been forgotten about. But I think this thing is cool, and I really want this in my collection. I need to get it soon. Anyways though, lastly we have a one-off set from Star Wars Rebels. Every Star Wars Rebels set is still pretty popular to this day, however this one was one that just immediately went under the radar right when it got released, and that is 75084 Wookiee Gunship from 2015. And when I sat down to start making this list, I immediately knew this set had to be at number 1, and that's because, I mean, do any of you guys remember this thing being in Rebels at all? I remember an arc or two being based around the Wookiees or whatever, but I don't remember them having an actual gunship or ship like this. I mean, I'm sure it's not hard to find a clip of it or anything, but still, I just don't remember it from when I initially watched the show back in 2015 or whenever it was. And on top of that, when this set came out, it just immediately wasn't very popular. I think it was really just an immediate flop. That doesn't mean it's bad, it's just people weren't interested in this thing. I mean, I think it looks pretty unique. I want to get my hands on this, but back in 2015, people are just like, what the heck is this? And I think because of that, people just immediately forgot about it, and ever since then, nobody has really thought about this thing again. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, I'll make a part 2, but let me know what you guys think about these sets down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see the link on the screen right now.